Hello everybody, Tim W. Rago here, Games, Movies, and Vlogs. How the hell is everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Jurassic June, and once again I am joined by fellow creature obsessed and engineering obsessed.
How's it going, guys? Jurassic World Monsterverse here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are having a great Jurassic June, and yeah, let's get into it. Oh, and before we go on,
yeah, greetings everyone. This is Exodia, aka Dude Manchester, aka the eccentric nerd who makes his own bullshit.
I can't help but like the yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna do this every time.
Why wouldn't you? Okay, so now for our next episode of Jurassic June, which is episode 3 here. So you've seen us cover Carnosaur 1. Well, now we're doing Carnosaur 2. And, you know, the other night when all three of us were watching this movie, it was so funny watching these two because Daniel was because Dude Meister was getting frustrated at the human characters in this movie, and James, you were slumped in your chair so bad. Like, you were just slumped in the chair. Like, you weren't just slouching. You were about falling off the chair. I think I was the only one actually enjoying this movie. Like, no joke. I think I was the only one who actually enjoyed it.
of course you would.
Wait, what?
Of course you would. Like, I don't think I've seen a movie in a long time where I felt my brain cells on life support. That's what it felt like. I was bored out of my mind watching this movie, and just I just want to say before we go on with the review, I'm not gonna commentate much on this one just for the sake of I just didn't like this movie at all. I don't have any hatred for it, but I strongly disliked it just because. And if anything comes up that either of these guys mentioned that I think is worth commentating on, then I'm going to comment on that. But in the meanwhile, I'm just going to be in the background listening to these two.
Yeah, I have problems with that one too, but I'm going to try to give it my best.
You're not gonna comment much on it either?
It's not much I can say because I'm with you. It was... What the fuck did I watch?
Yeah, it is one of those movies. It's like, so I think Tim would be best explaining it. Sorry, I'm dead tired today, guys. I've been out, exercising and hiking on nature trails all day long, so my brain isn't draining properly today. And it's pretty much how I felt watching this godforsaken movie. And So Tim, I'm going to let you do the explanation here to say how this is a copy of Aliens from 1986, directed by James Cameron.
Yeah, this movie... Okay, one thing before I give my opinions on this. on the cover of this movie, it's the DVD cover and the poster, because Carnosaur is one of those movies where, well, this trilogy anyway, it's those old movies where the poster for the movie is the DVD cover at the same time. Like, they literally just miniaturized the poster, and the most bullshit quote that I've ever seen, I forgot who said this. The most bullshit quote that I ever saw from a movie critic was on the poster of this movie, and it literally said, C2 is the film Jurassic Park should have been. As soon as I read that, I'm sitting there thinking, what the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? I'm like, dude, really? Really? What mindset? I'm thinking in my head, no disrespect to that person if you're ever watching this, but I was so taken aback by that, because I'm like, really? This is the movie Jurassic Park should have been? Are you kidding me right now? As soon as I saw that quote, I'm sitting there thinking, excuse me? Like, that confused me more than the virus subplot from Carnosaur 1. Like, seriously, that confused me a lot. Like, the women giving birth to dinosaurs made more sense in that quote. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then also, and another one was, and my boy here mentioned aliens, and this movie does have a lot of, it's literally a dinosaur ripoff of Aliens, because with Aliens you have, the plot of that movie is, a group of people go into some facility far off somewhere to go fix something. They run into a bunch of monsters, save a kid, and they get out at the end of the movie and the facility blows up. Well, quite literally, Carnosaur 2 is the same exact thing. You got a bunch of characters going into some facility to go fix a problem, run into some dinosaurs, escape, people die, they escape, find a kid who, quite literally, Daniel, you pointed out that the kid looks like John Connor from Terminator 2. Like, hairstyle and the way he was dressed. He's played by, he's played by Ryan Thomas Johnson, who I've never seen in another movie after this. Like, if he played in anything else, I'd probably recognize him, but, it's literally a dinosaur version of Aliens, except, like, it takes place on Earth, and it takes place at that time, it was the modern day. And what's so funny is, what was so funny was, like, in the first movie, the town that the first movie took place in, it said Nevada, and I thought it was filmed in Nevada. Come to find out, it was filmed in Arizona and New Mexico, which is weird, but...
Well, that's random.
Yeah, in this movie, it takes place in the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Repository Facility, which is here in Nevada. Not sure if this one was filmed in Nevada, even though this one looks more like Nevada than the first movie did. But, hey, my home state gets recognition again. But, what do you call, one of the, well, now onto the actual plot of this movie. Like, the whole thing, you just, like, open up with, with Yucca Mountain trying to be opened up and get ready to work, and random shit happens. We get a random dinosaur attack, but you don't see the damn thing. You see, like, people just get thrown around in a mess hall, which looks more like a Denny's, which looks more like a breakfast, like a small diner. And then we're introduced to the human characters, and Daniel, you were getting so frustrated at the human characters of this movie. Like, when we were watching this, your face was like, you could not, like, what was your comment when you said if these people are military, then you're what?
Yeah, I said, if these guys are military officers, then I'm a freaking ballerina.
Yeah, because the human characters of this movie, at least most of them, are, what are they called, Danny? What did you say, civilian contractors, you said?
Yeah, basically, they're idiots.
And, well, then one thing I can actually agree on that they were idiots is because they all get on this helicopter together, and they didn't wear... They had the headsets they were wearing were more like for inside. They were wearing like the more inside headsets, not the big earmuff ones that you gotta wear when you're on a helicopter, because those things are loud as shit. So it was so weird that they were only wearing like the inside of building headset kind of thing, like they were wearing the small ones.
One of them wasn't even wearing a headset. He was just sitting there talking like the helicopter wasn't running at all. And apparently, none of them had ever been in a helicopter, because if they were, they would have known those things are loud as fuck.
Oh yeah, one of the characters and the guy who wasn't wearing a headset is I have the Tom McQuaid played by Cliff DeYoung, and he was the one character I hated in this movie. Like, I know I enjoyed this, but I wanted to slap the shit out of this guy. The guy who played, like, the dude who is going to be telling everybody else what to do. I mean, didn't you guys want to slap the fuck out of him, or at least punch him in the face? Because he's such an asshole in this movie. Like, literally, the minute he talks, the minute he first spoke, it was like, will you shut up? Like, seriously, throughout this entire movie, he's just such a douchebag. Like, thank God. He's the one character I wanted to die so damn bad, because he, like, locks everybody up. He tries to, like, I don't know, it's like, these people are there to fix this facility up, but at the same time, it's like he keeps them from doing their job and telling them, oh, you can't go into certain areas. Well, motherfucker, they're here to fix the facility, so they should have access to the whole damn place. You know, so even...
Yeah, I mean, if they're there, why they have the rights to be there. I mean, for fuck's sake, why else would it be there?
Yeah, exactly, and McQuaid was just, like, keeping them from going into certain areas. Like, dude, really? Like... Why? And then there was the character Monk, played by Rick Dean, that honestly I think he was probably the funniest guy in this entire movie. Like, he was trying to be the comedic relief here, but I don't know, it's just every time he spoke, you just could not help but crack up at, because he's such a...
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree. He was this. He was the guy that pretty much stole the show with his outlandish dialogue, and you know, he was the show stealer of the film for me. And like, he was played like, I was going to say he was played really well, but that would be, you know, me not being entirely truthful there, because I don't think anything is done very well in these films. But I do like the character, and I do like the actor who performs the role. And yeah, Monk. Yeah, you might have to come back to me in a little while, because just talking about this movie is making my brain cells feel like they're dying already.
And the most relatable moment that Monk has in this movie is, like, in the helicopter scene. There's this bit where one of the characters, another dude, I'm trying to find his name here. There's like this other, I'm trying to find him on the cast here. It's like Moses, the guy's name was, where it's him and the other dude were playing paper rock scissors on the helicopter, and then you got Monk in the back he plays with them, but instead of doing paper rock scissors, he's flipping them. He kept flipping them off.
Yeah.
He kept flipping them off every time, and then Moses would look at him and start doing it to him too. I don't know why. I think that's like the most kind of relatable moment in this movie, because I mean, being a guy, it's like, that is so easy to do when you're with a bunch of people. It is so easy to sit there and you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little fun here. I'm gonna be a douchebag for a few minutes, and then just start going. And then my only thing is, what's with that music that was playing? Like, what in the hell was with that? What in the hell was with that music? Like, Monk brings this radio with him, and had that had a tape player in it, and he plays this. Who the Mozart? What the hell? I don't know who composed that, but like, Daniel, do you recognize what piece of music that was?
Yeah, that was Ride of the Valkyries.
Okay, I don't know what the hell, why that was even in the movie. That was like the most out of place thing, was that music choice.
Nah, not really. Not really. That was Ride of the Valkyries by Richard Wagner. It's a classical piece of music that often plays in the helicopter scenes with those type of helicopters. Most famously from Apocalypse Now is when it first appeared. So it's basically become one of those pop culture items that just, well, if you're riding a military helicopter, you have to play that one.
Really? So that's pretty much like become like a helicopter cliche kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay,
it's the helicopter cliche.
Okay, without knowing that context, I was so confused by I was like really confused by that. And James, what is it like? We all noticed this. What is it with Monk? Like, he can't finish a sentence. Like, the dude can't even finish he couldn't even finish a full sentence when he was talking. Like, most of the time, he every time he talks, it's like, dude, you can't even finish a sentence. I don't know what the dude's deal was. Like, every time this guy speaks, he's like, no, don't tell me it's a, nah, I thought it was one of the, then he stops, like, right there. Like, he can't even he can't even do a sentence all the way through, like, finish that sentence all the way through.
I don't really have,
because he was drunk?
I don't really have any.
Oh, speaking of drunk, actually, the lead character in this movie is Jack Reed, who's played by John Savage, and his acting in this movie, I don't know if his New York accent was legit or not, because he literally does that mob voice this entire movie. He does the mafia voice, which I call it every time I hear some tough guy sound like he's from Manhattan. And, James, I pointed out to you earlier when I was looking through this movie again, there's the one line that, like, he tried a little too hard with his line delivery when he looks at McQuaid and he goes, you guys are a bunch of sick bastards. Like, his line delivery with that was trying a little too hard.
Was very over the top.
It really was. Oh, it really was over the top. I'm not gonna lie. And then there's... Wait, what?
I've always, as an actor myself, because I've been in a few things here and then, time and time again, I've always seen people, when they give it a lead role, and sometimes they put a little too much effort into them, and it just comes off as so cheesy, man. It is so funny. That's exactly the same thing as that.
And then you've got, like, the character Moses, who, not gonna lie, when the dinosaurs finally show up, like, and I kept counting, it was like a half hour, like 33 minutes into this movie, the dinosaurs finally show up, like, you finally see them, and they start trying to kill the main characters. I just love how and this is where, and I warned James earlier that he's gonna hate my score for this movie at the end. I honestly think that when it comes to the effects in this movie, honestly, I think they're a little better than the first one, because in the first movie the dinosaurs they looked very stiff, and when they tried to move loose, they didn't move right. And in this movie, the dinosaurs don't look so stiff. They actually move a little more. They move a little bit more. And the fact that all the raptors they had animatronic heads, and they were played by people in dinosaurs. They were played by people in suits, which, in all honesty, it actually works in the movie's favor, because if they were to do the whole, like, giant-ass puppet again like they did in the first movie, it would have just looked weird. Honestly, it would have just looked really off if they just did the whole, like, full-size puppet Deinonychus again like they did in the first movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. It would have been a lot more out of place than it is already, so...
And one funny thing about the raptors in this is, did you guys catch, like, the Jurassic Park ripoff sound that they were using? Like, they took the high screech that the raptors use, and they only took, like, a second of it, and used it, like, it's had these weird...
Nope.
squeaky. They did like these really high sounds, and then there's the Predator croak. It literally sounds like I was trying to impersonate Predator with the croaking noise. Like they do this croaking sound right before they attack somebody.
Oh yeah, no, I thought the same thing. Like, especially like with that guy who was sitting in that chair, and one of them, when we see the Velociraptors for the first time, we see one of them just pop up right out of nowhere, and he just like he throws his fist up. And he's like, "Oh yeah, come on!"
He goes, "Oh, I love it when he looks at it. When what was it? It was Moses. He looks at it and he goes after the raptor literally bitch slaps him. It literally just bitch slaps him, and he goes, "Oh, it's on now." And then the raptor just starts like scratching at his face, and then I don't know what it is with the raptors in this movie because. The raptors in this movie, they have the strength to literally pick up a full-grown person and throw them with their hands. Like,
yeah, throw them across the room. It's funny, as that was pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. And then the raptors just start like that's what they do most of this movie. Like every time they attack somebody, they grab them, pull them up, or throw them somewhere into a corner, and then attack them. Like the raptors have this. They have this specific attack method in this movie, which is, not gonna lie, it actually is like them trying to do a little bit of the Raptors being smart thing. Like, the movie is at least trying to do that. And most of the movie is just like, oh, you know, you've got all the Raptors are attacking people. And then again, with the aliens comparisons, they have like, oh, the monsters are trying to break into where the humans are in operations, and the raptors do that in this movie. And then the fact that and the Yucca Mountain thing, you know, through this whole entire most of this movie, you think it's they said it's a uranium mine, but then later on McQuaid reveals that, oh, it's a nuclear repository facility after the Cold War. And then freaking Monk, oh, they got nukes, and dinosaurs. Yeah, that's just great. And then, speaking of which, Daniel, I love your comment when you were saying, like, when the human characters first get to the Yucca Mountain facility at the beginning, when they were all saying, "Don't tell me that's blood," and then frickin' Daniel, no, that's barbecue sauce.
It freaking was!
Actually, have you not seen blood when it dries up? It looks black when it looks like dark brown or black when it dries up. Like, have you seen dried blood?
Yeah,
before?
sure, but but not like that. That was clearly barbecue sauce.
I've just never heard of like barbecue sauce being used as blood, but I guess in that dark lighting, it was like the thing that made the most sense to use. But what do you call it? But it's just so, I don't know. This whole entire movie was just really Oh, and one thing.
Weird.
It was weird. And one thing, though, that I did like, another thing I did like about this movie is it added a little bit more lore to this movie because the first movie took place here in Nevada, which is a desert, and then the second movie takes place in a desert. So number 2 adds a little more lore to the dinosaurs and saying that, apparently the Rex in the first movie, since, you know, out in the desert, laid eggs out in the desert, and then McQuaid's team found them and stashed them at the Yucca Mountain facility. Hence why the dinosaurs are there in the first place. So I like how this movie adds a little more like lore to the dinosaurs, and I was talking to James about this. This movie is more simple than the first one is. Like the first movie it had 2 other subplots, but they connect to the main plot you were saying. But the second movie's more simple than the first one. It doesn't have all this other shit going on like the first movie did. The first movie had this other shit going on. The second one doesn't. Like, the second one just plays it straight.
I was half and half on that, but you made me see that you were more to the point than I was, you know, when I was telling my side of it, and I'm still a little half and half about it, but I have to say Tim is right. I do agree with him, and the reason why is because it's much more simplified. It's because it's a direct ripoff. That's why.
Yeah, it's a straight up, and and then all of a sudden, like the first movie introduced the fact that Tyrannosaurus Rex is in the movie, like right off the bat. Like you see the T-Rex very early on in the movie. This movie just decided, you spend the whole movie with the raptors, and you're thinking like it's just a raptor movie, but at the very end, after everyone is either eaten, the one chick in this movie, like once again we have a scene where a chick gets a limb ripped off. Like in the first movie we got a leg getting ripped off. In the second movie we got a chick who gets her arm ripped off. I mean, what's in the third movie? An ass cheek? Like seriously, what is with the... Like seriously, I don't know what this tradition is of like somebody getting a specific limb ripped off by a raptor here. But what did you guys think of like the effects that actually had like some gore in them? Like the chick who gets mauled, like the chick who literally she gets an arm ripped off, and then gets her stomach just ripped open. Like was that like what did you guys think of the effects on that?
I don't know. The effects-wise, it was pretty good. Story-wise, it came okay. Like I said, this movie was all over the place.
But and then when it comes to this T-Rex, it's just like, yeah, you think the whole movie's about raptors, and then all of a sudden, out comes the T-Rex, and I shit you not. For those of you who have watched the old dinosaur movie from 1957 called The Land Unknown, for those of you who have seen that movie, or at least know of its existence, you all know the extremely, and I mean extremely, shitty-looking Rex in that movie uses the roar, the most famous creature roar that would later be used for...
Sorry about that, guys.
We interrupt this movie review with an advertisement from friggin' PetSmart. Okay. But no, what do you call?
They'll settle down in a second. Okay, you're good now.
Oh, there you go. What do you call? And what's from the land? This has to be the weirdest review we've ever done. This has to be the weirdest review we've ever done.
I think it is.
Just like the movie, this is the
you're
weirdest.
the one.
This is.
I think it is because you're the one who had the only one who has really so much to say, and then me and Daniel here, we just.
Y'all's brains are so checked out. Y'all's brains are so.
We are fuck all on our minds here. And can I just say, guys, like 20 minutes into this movie.
Oh my god.
20 minutes into this film, I stopped paying attention, so I really have no idea what these two are going on about.
And Daniel, you don't.
I couldn't pay attention at all. I never even learned the name of any of the characters.
And what's actually crazy,
when Tim started naming the characters, I'm like, who?
Who?
What's actually kind of funny,
who
I watched this movie like 2 more times since we watched it the other night. Like I watched it 2 more times. I actually did. I watched this movie like 2 more times. It's like 3 times I've seen this movie, and again when it comes, and again back to what I was saying a little bit ago. Then, when you see the T-Rex from the Land Unknown make the infamous creature sound that would later be used for King Kong 1976 and Jaws: The Revenge, as well as Tom and Jerry for some reason and the Deadly Menace, the Rex in this movie makes that same noise. And this movie came out in the year 1994. Well, in the end credits it says 94. That's what I go by.
Really?
Yeah, in the end credits it says 1994 it came out.
Oh,
But
it says 99 everywhere else.
yeah, it's the same misconception with Tremors. Everyone says the first Tremors came out in 1990, but then when you watch the actual movie end credits, it says 1989. Like, it's this weird misconception that some internet sites get with movie release dates. But the Rex uses the same roar in this movie, and I literally think it's just Roger Corman being a creature movie fan, because you have a T-Rex.
Yeah.
You have a T-Rex making the same noise as the shitty Rex from the Land Unknown. Except in this movie, the Rex looks a lot better. The Rex looks way better and doesn't move like a little kid wearing a dinosaur suit. Like, the Rex in this movie, actually, honestly, this is why I like this movie better than 1, because the Rex moves a little more loosely. It actually has more movement to it, despite the fact that in some scenes it uses stock footage from the first one for some reason. It just has a blue filter over it to match the rest of this. They just put a blue filter over stock footage from 1 to match it, to match this one, which is off. But the rest of the actual footage for this, with the Rex puppet fighting, again, construction equipment, with the kid being the one to kill the Rex, which, I mean, James, you and I have talked about this. Child characters in a creature movie are annoying as fuck, but this movie, the kid wasn't that bad. Like, he really wasn't.
No, he wasn't. I agree. He wasn't that bad at all.
He was actually likable, to be perfectly honest. Like, he was one of those rare exceptions where this kid was actually, like, one of the most likable characters in this movie. Like, he was not an annoying little punk. I mean, when you first see him in the movie at the very beginning, you kind of think he is, because he sneaks into a dynamite room. He sneaks into a room and he tries to steal a bit of dynamite. They never explain why. That's never explained. It's just this random scene of him.
And for that reason itself, like, the lack of explanations as to why nothing really makes sense is the reason why 20 minutes into this film I zoned out, tried to get myself to come round, kept zoning out, slumped in my chair, almost falling off it. Yeah. My brain was fucking melting. I like, just 20 minutes, the guys. 20 minutes is all it took for my brain to go numb in this movie.
Yeah, luckily I can.
Sorry, Daniel. Before you go on, I just want to say, like, with Daniel, I was watching Daniel a lot. That's why I was smirking in a really weird way most of the time. Like, I was watching Daniel's reaction most of the time rather than the movie itself, because Daniel's reaction was 20 times better than the movie itself. So I just was most of the time watching just you guys, which is a really odd thing to say. It's sort of a weird perv thing to say, so I apologise if it came out in that way. But I had to focus on something else other than this movie to try and get my brain cells to work or function properly. And Daniel's expression was the best I've ever seen so far watching a movie, because it was just everything that my brain was thinking. It, like, Daniel's reaction, just him, like, it was a combination of pissed, annoyed, everything that's in a negative expression that is just outright just annoyed and pissed off, and just like all around, just like, what in the actual fuck is this? What is this shit these guys are making me watch?
And actually, folks, just to let y'all know, before we started Jurassic June, watching the Carnosaur films, this was Jurassic World Monsterverse 2's idea, folks. This was, before we started Jurassic June, this was his idea, by the way. This was...
Because I thought it would be a nice thing to do on Tim's behalf. That's why.
No, you said it would be funny. Film. You said it would be funny because Daniel hasn't seen these movies yet, so you thought it would be hilarious if we got him to watch them.
Well, yeah, that too. And for the most part in this one, it worked. It worked like a charm.
His little plan definitely worked. Daniel got a good reaction out of this thing. I'm gonna try my best impersonation here of Daniel's expression all the way through the movie until my internet stopped working, because we had to cut it short then. Yeah, we got like an hour in. We were an hour into this thing, and it's just so weird how it's like we got an hour into this, and the movie's only an hour and 22 minutes long, and we got 1 hour into this, and then we had to stop because James's internet started to go.
It's going through its own issues. So
it started going fuck all. It was
the whole hour, like with Daniel's expression, was just like I try and do it without laughing.
And folks, he's really doing it. By the way, you can't see it, but he's really doing this.
This is what it looks like. I'm trying not to think about it. So it looked like this. That's the whole time.
Yeah, it pretty much was. It honestly was, not gonna lie. And and there's me. I was the one, while these two were just getting pissed off watching this thing, I was sitting there just watching it. I was sitting there literally focused on this movie the entire time. Like, I was so focused on this movie the whole damn time. And then occasionally I'm looking at these two, and I'm cracking up because I'm like, really, guys? I'm like, really?
Yeah, Daniel just had that mixed, confused, what the fuck expression on his face the whole time. Me, I was like this. This is what I was like. I was like this.
Yeah, he literally was slumped in his chair, folks, to the point where he almost fell off. Like, he was slouching in the chair hard. Like it was some hard slouching in his chair while we were watching this thing. Oh, and actually, what's kind of funny, guys, is the helicopter pilot at the end of this movie, when the rescue chopper came to pick up the last two characters. The pilot was some dude who's famous for Mad TV back in the 90s, which is, I never knew that at first. Like, that's, I don't know the guy's name, but apparently he was from Mad TV, which is this movie parody show that was in the 90s and then did a rebirthing on Cartoon Network back in the very early 2010s. So when I heard that, I'm like, well, they'll get anybody in a B movie. I mean, Sharknado anybody with all the celebrity cameos, but anyway. I don't know. I personally enjoyed this movie. Like James said, I did most of the talking on this because I was like the only one out of the three of us who actually James's plan worked on getting a reaction out of Daniel from watching these movies. This was his idea in the first place. Before we even did Jurassic June. Before we even did this. Like, shit you not, folks. We were deciding on what other movies we should do for this. And all of a sudden, James just throws out on Instagram voice message. He says, hey, Tim, why don't we make Daniel watch the Carnosaur trilogy? And I started just dying. I started to crack up, and we agreed to do this. Like, oh my god. But anyways, I'm just going to say my score right off the bat. And James, I told you you're going to hate me for this, but I'm giving this movie a straight up 6 out of 10 because the plot was more simple. I honestly did enjoy the human characters of this movie. And the dinosaur effects were a hell of a lot better than the first one because they didn't move so stiff and puppety. They actually looked and moved a little more better. And on top of that,
I have to disagree with you. I think they were just as badly done as they were in the first Carnosaur.
Ooh, sweet.
I have to respectfully disagree with you on that. Like, even with you saying that they used animatronic heads, and there were men in suits. I just don't see anything better about that. I think they look just as bad.
So, do you guys even have a score for this movie at all? Like, do you have anything for this?
Yeah, and before I give my score, I've changed my mind about the score for Carnosaur, the original Carnosaur. I'm going to give Carnosaur a 5 out of 10, and this movie, I'll let Daniel say his score first.
0.5.
Damn. I've heard of low scores, but holy shitballs.
I just didn't like it. I don't hate it. I just... I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that made like my brain just die. Almost die, anyway. But I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. I would go lower, but I've had a good day today, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Are you feeling a little more generous today? Okay. Well, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this really oddball...
Short.
This is honestly the shortest video we've ever done, because there really was not... I mean, I had more to say about this movie than these two. Which is unusual, again, like the movie, which is unusual. The barking dogs thing, courtesy of Jurassic World Monsterverse, out of pure randomness, was... I think this review was just as weird as the movie. Like, did this movie have, like, some weird mojo? Did this movie have, like, some weird mojo on it where it's just as... where us talking about it is just as weird as the movie itself?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the shortest video we've ever done, so please be sure to like, share, and consider subscribing. And, again, I will say this, I fucked it up again for the second time. I really got to stop doing that. Putting all 3 of our Instagrams in the fucking video description, because, once again, I forgot it again, like a dumbass, while I was uploading the last 2 episodes. So, please be sure to follow Jurassic World Monsterverse's Instagram, Dude Meister's Instagram, and his DeviantArt. What did you say? How do you say it?
Exolia.
So that will
link in the description.
Yeah. So all 3 of our Instagrams will be in the description, and come follow me at Megalania 2023, because, like I said in the when we reviewed the first Carnosaur, I had to make a whole new Instagram account because of some stupid bullshit. But yeah, all of that will be in the description this time. I promise. It will be in the description. I promise y'all I'm not going to forget that this time. So anyways, this is Megalania 2023, a.k.a. Tim W. Rago.
Jurassic World Monsterverse 2. Peace out, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode for Jurassic June.
And also...
This is Exolia /Dudemeister. Peace out, nerds!
Till next time, everybody!